Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Thursday, March the 10th. Now, we just have a 2-game slate for Thursday, so this is going to be a fairly quick video. We're only going to talk through these 2 games. Won't be too much to talk about, but we will still go through and break down each team, kind of give my thoughts on this slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Wednesday night. And then after we do go through each game, we will build out an early core, or as we do go through each game, we'll build out an early core, talk through 5 players that specifically stand out to me at first look. But as always, guys, before we get started with the breakdown, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button as well if you are new here. We are on the road to 25,000 subscribers, and hopefully we'll hit that milestone maybe by the end of March. We've been growing a lot. This channel's been getting some new subscribers. I appreciate all you guys that have definitely checked out the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Also, go check out the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. So, PrizePicks is a player prop based DFS site. Very simple. You're just picking the over or the under on players' projections. You can take a look at their board for Thursdays, for these 2 games, see what props they have available. I know, me personally, I don't really enjoy 2-game DFS slates. So most of my action tonight will probably be over on PrizePicks. I don't really think I'm going to have a ton of action in play on the 2-game slate. I've just never enjoyed 2-game slates. I think there's just not a big edge when you only have 2 games and there's not many players to roster. So I'll have a lot of action on PrizePicks. If you guys want to get some action on PrizePicks, you can go check out their site. You can sign up and use my promo code Noah. That will actually give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. And again, you can take a look at their board, see the props they have available. Not much available right now, but obviously as we get closer to tip off Thursday night, closer to the time of lock and the time the games start, there'll be a lot of props available, even for just 2 games. I'm sure they'll add a ton of players on the board, so you can just make some selections, go over or under, have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. Again, go check them out, guys. Sign up, use my promo code, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. But let's talk through these 2 games. We're just going to talk Draftkings today because I don't know why. For some reason, Yahoo decided not to put a 2-game slate up. So Yahoo only has 2 showdown slates. They have a single game slate for the Brooklyn-Philly game, and then they have a single game slate for the Golden State-Denver game. So there's no 2-game slate on Yahoo. I'm not going to talk through the single game slates. So we're just going to talk Draftkings today. We're going to start off with the Brooklyn and Philly game and start off on the Brooklyn side. So when it comes to this Brooklyn team, where they are right now, we kind of know, normally the guys we're going to want to go to are Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Now, with it being a 2-game slate, you obviously have to get a little different. I mean, you're going to have to roster some of these other guys that normally we wouldn't roster. We'll talk through them in a second, but obviously KD and Kyrie, both at the top, look pretty appealing here. It's a 2-game slate. There's not many options. I will say that I think on this slate specifically, I would probably rather go to Jokic over these guys. I think Jokic is my favorite pay-up option on the slate. We did actually see DraftKings kind of lower the pricing a little bit on the studs, made the pricing a little bit softer, so it was just kind of easier to build lineups. Last slate, Kevin Durant was $11K. I know he had a bad game, but his price went down to $10,300. Kyrie's only $9,900. Even Embiid, I mean, basically DraftKings priced down all the studs just to make it easier to fit them in, just to make the pricing a little bit softer, because I don't really think there's going to be much value on this 2-gamer. So I think KD and Kyrie are both fine. I probably would prefer KD, honestly, over the 2. KD, throughout his, career with Brooklyn, and ever since him and Kyrie have both been on the same team, KD's been a better point per minute player. His usage is also a little bit higher. I know Kyrie's coming off a really big game, but I think between the 2, I do give the slight edge to KD. But Kyrie, coming off that big 50-point game against Charlotte, Kyrie's always got that kind of upside. I mean, he's a really talented player. He can put up a huge game any night. But normally when him and KD are similar price tags, I would usually just side with KD. And given the $400 difference, I'd rather get to Kevin Durant if I could. But then the other Brooklyn guys, so Andre Drummond's actually someone I do kind of like on this slate. We actually saw Andre Drummond play really well last game in a really good matchup against Charlotte. He played 24 minutes, had 47 DK points. His minutes went up a little bit with LaMarcus Aldridge out last game, and LaMarcus Aldridge is out once again. I mean, going up against Joel Embiid here, you're going to have some size out there. Now, is Andre Drummond going to stop Joel Embiid? Obviously not. I mean, Drummond's probably going to get destroyed here. But I don't think Nicholas Claxton's going to be a much better option either. I mean, it's either going to be Drummond, Claxton, or maybe they go to Blake Griffin. I don't think Blake Griffin even got any minutes last game. He's been out of the rotation. Right now, it's basically just Drummond and Claxton splitting the center minutes while Aldridge is out. I think Drummond kind of has the upper hand, and also it's a revenge game for him against Philly, the team that he played for this season. So 5,700 for Drummond. I mean, if he plays 24, 25, 26 minutes, he's a really, really good point per minute player, and we saw that last game against Charlotte. Now, the matchup against Embiid's not ideal. There's obviously some foul trouble risk here, but I definitely think Drummond's upside is there when the minutes are there, and I think the minutes, they'll be solid without LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, will Drummond play 36 minutes? Probably not, but I think there's a good chance he plays mid to high 20s, which is enough for him to pay off 5,700. So I actually do like Andre Drummond quite a bit on this slate. Honestly, might be my favorite play from Brooklyn when you factor in the price tags. Obviously, KD, Kyrie, both fine options too, but I do like Drummond quite a bit. Bruce Brown, he continues to play really, really well. 5,100, that does feel like a lot to pay for Bruce Brown when Kyrie and KD are both healthy, just because Bruce Brown's not normally been a super productive fantasy point per minute player, playing alongside those guys as well. I don't think he's going to be that productive. But as of late, he's been producing at a really high rate. He's been doing everything, scoring, getting rebounds, getting assists. On a 2-game slate, I think it's fine to go to Bruce Brown. I still feel like, he's kind of performing a little bit over his head right now. I don't expect him to continue to put up 30 DraftKings points or 30-plus DraftKings points a night. But on a 2-gamer, with not many options, he's definitely in play. Seth Curry, I'm a little hesitant on. It's obviously a revenge spot for him against his former team. Ever since KD and Kyrie have come on and been healthy, we've really seen Seth Curry take a back seat. Seth Curry played well those games when Kyrie and KD were out. But the last 3 games with Kyrie back, with KD back, 17, 15, 16 DraftKings points. Like Seth Curry, he just hasn't been doing that well. He hasn't been playing that well. The minutes have still been there, but the shot attempts have gone down. The usage has gone down. For 4,700, he's a playable option, but I don't feel great about Seth Curry right now. I just think he's really taken a backseat with, KD and Kyrie both healthy now. And then the bench guys like Goran Dragic, he's been getting solid minutes. Last game, he played 28 minutes. If you told me before the slate started that Goran Dragic was going to play 28 minutes again, I'd actually have a lot of interest in him as a value play. Am I confident that Goran Dragic plays 28 minutes again? I'm not confident in that, but I think low to mid-20s is pretty doable, 22 to 24. And at 3,600, if we get 24 minutes from Goran Dragic, he could definitely be someone worth considering as a value option. But Patty Mills, James Johnson, Cam Thomas, I don't think I'd go to any of these guys. If you want to fade Drummond and hope I could definitely see Drummond getting in foul trouble here. It's obviously a spot where, there could be some issues with fouls going up against Embiid. If Drummond does get in foul trouble, the biggest beneficiary is probably going to be Nicholas Claxton. Last game, Claxton played 20 minutes. He wasn't really productive. But if you want to fade Drummond, play Claxton, hope Drummond gets in foul trouble or something, which is possible, you could do that on a 2-gamer. But that's really it for this Brooklyn team. So let's move on to the other side of this game with the Sixers. So looking at Philadelphia today, it's tough to really get much exposure to anyone on this team outside of Embiid and Harden. Tyrese Maxey's price is up a lot to 7,400. I just feel like you're kind of overpaying for Maxey right now. He's been playing really well even with Harden in the lineup, but 7,400, that's a lot to pay for him. Tobias Harris has just been terrible ever since Harden's come on. You can look at his game log and see for yourself. Last game, 16 DK points. The game against Miami, that was a game that Harden actually sat out in. But all these other games with Harden, 23, 28, he's just not been good with Harden in the lineup. So even at 6,300, I don't really have much interest in Tobias Harris today. I think he's playable, but I don't feel great about it. Harden and Embiid are going to be the 2 guys you look to today, and by far, these guys are definitely, these are definitely 2 of the better pay-up options today. Now, I think Jokic, for me, is number 1 on this slate. Then, between Steph Curry, Embiid, Harden, KD, Kyrie, how are you going to rank the rest of the studs? I probably would put Embiid 2nd behind Jokic, and then probably Harden 3rd, and then probably KD 4th, Steph 5th, Kyrie 6th. I think at first look, that's kind of how I would rank the studs today. But all these guys are in play. It's a freaking 2-game slate. Obviously, you can play Joel Embiid on a 2-game slate. It's just that, if you're playing one lineup, are you going to play Joel Embiid in that one lineup? Right now, there's not really much value, so it's going to be very hard to play multiple studs on this slate. I think you're going to have to kind of pick your favorite. Embiid's probably my 2nd favorite behind Jokic. Embiid should be able to dominate here against Brooklyn, against whether it's Andre Drummond or Nicholas Claxton or maybe Blake Griffin see some minutes. Whoever they throw out there, they're not going to stop Embiid here. Embiid's just been dominant. Even with Harden in the lineup, we've still seen Embiid post massive games. Had a massive game against the Bulls last outing, 74 DraftKings points, 43 points, 14 rebounds. The dude's got massive upside. He's him and Jokic are the 2 MVP front runners right now. I think Embiid's my 2nd favorite stud on the slate behind Jokic. Like Embiid quite a bit. And then James Harden in a revenge game against Brooklyn. No issues going to James Harden either. I think I would prefer Embiid over him. But Harden, even playing alongside Embiid, he's definitely shown somewhat of a lower floor, but that ceiling is still there. He popped off, put up 80 DraftKings points against the Knicks. He can always do that. He can always put up a triple-double any night. He has shown that triple-double upside every night with Philly. He's been stuffing the stat sheet, doing a little bit of everything. At 10-4, no issues going to Harden today, but I do prefer Embiid over him. And then, like, outside of the rest of, or outside of, the 4 Sixers that we talked about, I don't see much else I like on this team. If you want to take a shot on Matisse Thybulle, good possibility that maybe he plays like 30 minutes here because they're going to want him out there to guard KD. At 3,400, Thybulle's an okay value play. I guess if you're trying to go stars and scrubs on this slate, which is kind of tough to do, if you're trying to do that and you want to go to Thybulle, it's fine. But Thybulle's a guy, like, he can play 30 minutes and still score 12 DraftKings points because he doesn't do much except play defense. I mean, when he has a good game, it's usually because he gets a lot of steals, a lot of blocks. He's not really a guy that's going to take a lot of shots. He's not going to get a ton of rebounds. He's just out there for defense. So even though Thybulle's cheap, I don't feel great about him. Georges Niang always can put up 20, 25 DK points off the bench if he gets hot from 3. He probably plays like 20 to 22 minutes. It's fine, but I'm not really that excited about many Philly guys outside of Harden and Embiid. And Embiid's definitely my favorite play on this team. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, the late night game, the Warriors and the Nuggets. So looking at the Warriors today, I think this is one of the more appealing teams on this slate just because they do have some value that we'll talk about in a second. But Steph Curry at the top for 9,800. Steph Curry, obviously 9,800 does feel a little bit too cheap for him, but when you factor in the price, the decrease in price tag that all the other studs have got, I mean, right now, or if you look at the salaries, I mean, Curry's 9,800, which feels cheap, but KD's only 500 more. Harden's only 600 more. Embiid's only 1,000 more. Jokic is only 1,400 more. Like, I would just rather get up to those guys. I know Steph has massive upside. He can put up a big game any night, but Steph does still have a very low floor. We've seen a lot of games this year where he puts up 30, 35 DK points. I mean, even in a really good matchup against the Lakers, just 36 DK points from Steph. He's still got that massive ceiling, but there's just other studs I'd rather go to. I think a lot of the guys we've already talked about I do prefer on the slate. Wiggins at 7K doesn't stand out to me. Klay Thompson at 6,600, I don't really like either. Those guys are just kind of like contrarian options for me. I think the value is where we can look, is where I'm the most excited from Golden State. So without Otto Porter last game, we actually did see them start Moses Moody. And Moses Moody's only 3,500. He did start and play really well last game, 30 minutes, 26 DK points. The last 2 games, Moses Moody has played well. Obviously, the game against Denver, that was a game where, they basically sat everybody. Moody played really well that game. I don't think Moody's going to have, I don't think he's going to get massive usage or anything. I mean, he only took 6 shots last game, but he's going to be out there for a good amount of minutes. I mean, we've seen the Warriors want to see what they have in Moses Moody. I know Steve Kerr has kind of talked up Moses Moody a lot this season. So I expect Moses Moody to start once again, probably play 25, 30 minutes, and we don't have much value on the slate. So I think 3,500 for Moses Moody, if he is starting, he is someone that I will be looking to as a value option. And I think Jonathan Kuminga is another guy we can look to for value. Now, Jonathan Kuminga did not start last game. I don't think he'll start here, but he did play 26 minutes off the bench, and there's definitely more opportunity for him right now without Otto Porter. Gary Payton out as well. Forgot to mention that one. So no Otto Porter, no Gary Payton. Obviously, Draymond's still out. There's going to be more minutes available for Kuminga, for Moses Moody, for these young guys to kind of show what they can do. And Kuminga's been, he's been playing well, and when he gets minutes, he can produce. We saw him put up 38 DraftKings points in only 26 minutes last game. I mean, he's been a productive player when given opportunity. He's only 4,300. Again, we're kind of scarfing for value right now. We're kind of desperate for value. So 4,300 for Kuminga is something that I do kind of like on this slate. I think both him and Moody are pretty decent value plays. And then even a guy like Jordan Poole. I mean, Jordan Poole, normally someone I don't play whenever Steph and Klay are both healthy, but Jordan Poole has been playing really well off the bench. His minutes have been pretty consistent. I think he plays, 25 to 30 minutes off the bench. If he can get hot, he can put up a big game at 5,200. So don't even hate going to Jordan Poole. I think he's definitely playable on the slate. That's probably it, though, from Golden State. I don't see too much else I really like here. Kevon Looney, you would think in this matchup against Jokic, they're going to want Kevon Looney out there as much as possible. He has done pretty well against Denver this season. They played 3 games already, or they played 3 games this season. He's averaged 28 DraftKings points per game against Denver. So, I don't hate Kevon Looney as a value play. He's normally not a guy that I really get excited about, but, man, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, you got to think he's going to play around 30 minutes because they don't really have any other bigs. I mean, I guess they could put Bjelica out there, but Bjelica is going to just get destroyed by Jokic. They could maybe go small, play JTA, but I don't think that would really work. Kevon Looney might have to play as much as he can, as much as he can handle. So 4,100 Kevon Looney, he's another value play that I'm fine with. Warriors, they're a team that I actually kind of like for value today. And normally I hate rostering the Warriors value guys because you just never know how Steve Kerr is going to run his rotation, how these guys are going to get their minutes split. But they're pretty thin right now. No Draymond, no Otto Porter, no Gary Payton, Andre Iguodala out as well. On a 2-game slate with no value, I mean, I think this is a team that we can definitely target for cheap options, and we kind of talked through the guys that I do like. So that's really it for Golden State. Let's go ahead and talk about Denver real quick before we end the video. So on Denver, we'll have to watch the injury report for Denver. They are the only team on a back-to-back today. Will Barton was questionable for Wednesday's game, ultimately did not play, so we'll have to see if Will Barton plays today. We'll have to see if Jeff Green plays as well. Jeff Green was a late scratch for personal reasons, so maybe he sits again. Bones Highland was out as well on Wednesday, so we'll have to watch the statuses of Will Barton, Jeff Green, Bones Highland. All those guys did not play Wednesday. Again, it's a back-to-back, and those are pretty impactful injuries, especially on a 2-game slate. It's going to impact some of these value guys that we'd want to go to. Normally an injury or like a Jeff Green getting ruled out, like normally that wouldn't really matter. But on a 2-game slate, every little injury matters. So we'll have to pay attention to those. We'll start off at the top, though, with Jokic. I mean, Jokic, we've kind of hit on it. He's my favorite pay-up option on the slate. Jokic just continues to dominate every single night. Last 2 games against the Pelicans and against the Warriors, 95, 75 DraftKings points. He had another massive game Wednesday night against Sacramento. This is a back-to-back for the Nuggets. They did play a back-to-back on Sunday and Monday, and then they played a back-to-back on Wednesday, and they're playing Thursday again. So, this is their 4th game in like 4 days. Yeah, 4th game, or maybe 4th game in like 5 days. They've been playing a lot of games lately, a lot of back-to-backs. I would expect Jokic to play here, but keep an eye on the injury report. We could always see a random rest spot or something, but expecting Jokic to play. He's my favorite pay-up option on the slate. He's just been so freaking good this year. It doesn't matter what teams try to throw at Jokic, double team, triple team. Like, the dude's just going to find a way to score fantasy points. At 11-2, it's not like we're having to pay the $12K price tag for Jokic, the $12.5 price tag that we've been having to pay. I know a lot of the studs basically all the studs got priced down today, but I think Jokic at 11-2 really stands out. I like him quite a bit today. I think Aaron Gordon at 5,400 looks pretty appealing too, especially if Will Barton is out again. Aaron Gordon is not normally a guy that I target, but at 5,400 on a 2-game slate, I think he's a solid, small forward, power forward option. I would definitely feel better about Aaron Gordon if Will Barton sits again. If Will Barton plays, then you could obviously consider Will Barton at 5,900. But I think there's a good chance Will Barton probably doesn't play again. He's missed their last 2 games, so 5,400 for Aaron Gordon. He's someone that I'm definitely targeting on this slate. I do like him quite a bit as well from this Denver team. Just think that price tag a little bit too cheap for what his role should be. If Will Barton does sit again. The rest of Denver, though, like Monte Morris, I don't hate either, especially if Barton sits. Like, I think for me, when it comes to Morris, when it comes to Gordon, they definitely become a lot more appealing if Barton's out. If Barton plays, obviously you could still consider these guys, but they wouldn't be as exciting. But Monte Morris has been playing well lately. I think without Will Barton, if he were to sit again, that would definitely be beneficial for Monte Morris. So at 4,700, I'd actually have quite a bit of interest in him. I think him and Aaron Gordon would both be solid options. And then like the JaMychal Green, Austin Rivers, Bryn Forbes, like these guys I'm probably only considering if everyone that's questionable is out again. So like I would only consider these other guys if Will Barton, JaMychal, or Jeff Green, Bones Highland are out again. Then if they are all out again, you can maybe consider JaMychal Green, Austin Rivers. We did actually see Austin Rivers and Davon Reed start on Wednesday. I don't think Rivers did much. I can't even remember, but I'm pretty sure he didn't really do much. I don't think Reed did much either. But if those guys wind up starting again, I mean, they're 3,600 and 3,300 on a 2-game slate with like no value. I mean, you could consider Austin Rivers. You could consider Davon Reed if he starts again or if they start again. But that's probably it from the Nuggets. I think we kind of talked about everything here. Definitely going to have to watch the injury report for this team. Jokic by far my favorite play on Denver, but I think if Will Barton sits again, makes Aaron Gordon look pretty appealing, makes Monte Morris look pretty appealing as well, especially with the lack of options that we have on this little slate. But that's it, guys. Just a 2-gamer, so I know it's a pretty quick video. Wanted to go through these 2 games, though, kind of give you guys my early thoughts, what I like, taking a first look at this slate on Wednesday night. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. Go check out the sponsor of the video, as we mentioned earlier, PrizePicks. You can sign up over there. Use code NOAH when you sign up. PrizePicks will give you a 100% match on your first deposit, up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And you can take a look what PrizePicks has to offer, make some picks for Thursday's games. They'll add a lot of props to their board probably as we get closer to tip-off. Thursday night, you'll see a lot of props in both these 2 games. And again, me personally, I don't really enjoy playing 2-game DFS slates. A lot of my action tonight is going to be on PrizePicks. So if you guys want to get some action in on PrizePicks, again, you can sign up over there, use my promo code, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And as always, I will have my PrizePicks video posted to YouTube sometime Thursday, probably early Thursday morning, sharing some of my favorite plays on PrizePicks that you guys can tell. If you do like, I do upload those videos Monday through Friday, along with the DFS videos that you all watched the night before. But that's it, guys. Appreciate you watching. Best of luck on this 2-game slate. We'll see you in the next video.